Well, seeing as how there is a pay-per-view this Sunday, I should probably do a preview video for that. So, yeah. WWE's Extreme Rules 2015 is happening this Sunday, and I've got a lot to talk about in regards to that, because they actually have a full card out there, so there's a lot to talk about and discuss and predict and preview and all that other fun stuff. But before I get into that, I wanted to touch up on a few other wrestling-related things, namely the high quality of shows that we got out of NXT and Lucha Underground. I literally just got done watching them right before I started filming, and oh my god, both shows were really good this week. NXT, we'll start with NXT. The show was mostly squash matches, which as I've said before, I'm completely fine with that because squash matches are important character builders. Rhino got a dominant win, so it keeps him looking like a monster. Finn Balor got a decisive win, so it keeps him looking like a top star. And I think there was one other one. Hideo Itami got a win over CJ Parker, which kind of rebuilds him after losing to Breeze and losing the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and all that stuff. So it kind of puts him back on a winning track. So squash matches are good in that aspect, in that they give people, like I said, they're character builders. They also set up some things that are really good. There's going to be a Tyler Breeze-Finn Balor feud, which... yay! I'm totally cool with that. Yay! I mean, the next special's got to be coming up soon. So if we can get that match, I will be more than stoked for it. That would be great. What else did they do? They're also we've established a new #1 contenders for the Divas title, and Becky Lynch. She'll be challenging Sasha Banks. I'm not sure how a heel versus heel match is going to work out too well, but. In any case, they've set the match up, and I'll actually come back to the contenders match itself in a little bit. But we also got Kevin Owens beating Alex Riley in another match. I thought this match they had was better than the first match they had for that NXT episode that was on the road. And yeah, it was a good match. Owens got the win, and then Sami Zayn came out and they got into a huge brawl that resulted in Sami Zayn doing this huge over-the-top rope dive onto a whole crowd of people just to get to Owens. And it was really well done and very well crafted and really made me excited for that eventual, inevitable Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens rematch. So yeah, all of that was really well done this week. I do have one knock on Kevin Owens, though, and I do want to bring that to light because I just don't want to sound like I'm blindly praising everything that NXT does. Kevin Owens, great worker, great, he has great matches, pretty good talker, conveys like the whole like him being a brute very well once he's in the ring. My one problem with him, it's sort of like the anti-Roman Reigns in a way, where Roman is really all about the look. Owens, like, the look is the one thing he needs work on, and it's really just a matter of him taking more pride in his appearance. I'm not even talking about, like, hitting the gym and getting a six-pack or anything like that, because I think Owens is in pretty good shape for somebody of his body type and everything, and he's obviously very athletic and has good matches and everything. So that's not the problem. When I say he needs to take pride in his look, I mean his outfit and the way his hair looks and everything, and his beard. He looks like he just rolled out of bed. He doesn't look like this fierce brute that he's supposed to be. And I wish he would take a little bit more pride in his appearance. Because I think to guys like Vader, who, was stocky and, had a gut and everything, but you just looked at Vader and you were intimidated by him. So he got his character over before the bell even sounded. And again, just by looking at him. And, of course, Vader also came through in the ring as well. He's one of the best workers of his day. One of the best big men of his day, anyway. And, Owens doesn't really have that. He looks kind of, like I said, he looks like he kind of rolled out of bed. And I wish he'd work on that a little bit and, tweak it and fine-tune it and find a more distinctive look for him. But, that's a knock on an otherwise very strong package. Like I said, he's a very good champion, very good worker and everything. I wish he'd tweak his look a little bit and make it look more presentable, if that makes any sense. But, yeah, I'm still really excited for his Sami Zayn-Kevin Owens rematch. I think it's going to be a great match. But the major highlight of this week's show, I thought the Charlotte, Bayley, Becky Lynch match, which was for the #1 contendership to the NXT Divas title, was outstanding. I thought that was a very, very good match. And I want to throw special praise to all three of those girls because they did a wonderful job and they were beautifully worked by all three of them. It was just a terrific match. And what it did so well is that it got all three characters... it played to the strengths of all three characters. Bayley is one of the top 10 best baby faces in wrestling right now. I'm not even joking when I say that because she is so instantly lovable and so likable that I found myself just rooting for her the whole time. And the crowd was as well. And she just kind of got over this, spunky, never say die underdog attitude. And that carried throughout the entire match. Charlotte was like this perfect wrestling machine, and that carried through whenever she was in control throughout the match. And Becky was kind of this sneaky opportunist that ultimately stole the victory, and that'll actually lead me into the finish, which was very well crafted, where Charlotte locked in her variation of the figure 4, which they called the figure 8 because it's twice as good, which I like that. That's pretty clever. But her version of the figure 4 just looked sick, where she just kind of bridged up, and it just looked like she was twisting Bayley into into like the world's most uncomfortable pretzel. And Bayley wouldn't tap, and again, that strengthens both characters, where Charlotte's the best wrestler of the three, and she's able to do these incredible things, and Bayley's just this never say die underdog. And then Becky Lynch was able to sneak in and get the pin on Bayley while she was locked in the figure 4, and Bayley was completely helpless. So I thought the finish was very well crafted. I thought a lot of the interesting spots they did were very good, like that Doomsday Device spot that they did with Bayley coming off the top with the spinning kick. I mean, that looked incredible as well. So I thought that match was absolutely outstanding. It was definitely a great centerpiece to what was overall a really good episode of the show, and it really stood out to me. My one thing I will say against the match is really not even against the match or the workers. It's more against the crowd. At one point, they started chanting "better than the Divas," to which I kind of rolled my eyes and thought, they are the Divas. This is a WWE product. I know we like to think of NXT as being outside of the WWE universe in a way, but no, it is a WWE produced show, and that we should not lose sight of that. It is definitely a WWE product, and I've gone on record on saying many, 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 many times that NXT is the best WWE product out there. And if Raw was more like NXT, I would enjoy it a lot more. But don't lose sight of that. NXT is WWE, and I don't care what anybody says. And that chant was stupid. So I wanted to bring attention to that. But other than that, completely outstanding match. And I think all three women deserve a ton of praise for that. I thought it was just a great match. Very, very good. So I was coming off a high watching NXT. I was like, man, that show was really, really good. I really enjoyed that. Then I flip on Lucha Underground, and Lucha Underground just blew it out of the fucking water once again, to where I just couldn't understand how it could be as good as it was. It was, one of their better shows overall, and everything that they do just seems to work. Even if it seems strange on paper, it's just... what they're doing with, and actually, I'll build off of that. I mean, if you want to look at a wrestling show that's promoting their women as being important parts of the show, you've got Angela Fong, who's playing the Black Lotus, I think her character's name is, and she's doing these Kill Bill training segments that, Kill Bill-esque, I should say, kind of training segments to get her ready to work Lucha Libre. And those segments have been really good. They've done 2 of them so far, and they did one tonight. It was outstanding. It just, again, highlights all the cinematic qualities that Lucha Underground has. That really sets it apart from all the other wrestling shows out there. And then you got Pentagon Jr. versus Sexy Star, which had been built up for at least a month now, and was outstanding. It was just a very, 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 very good, heel versus face type of situation. It was very classic wrestling in a way, where you had this Pentagon who was built up as this brute, this monster, this savage beast that broke people's arms and was doing it in the name of his master, and he was like this otherworldly kind of crazed psychopathic killer. And Then you have Sexy Star, who's by default the underdog. And, I know a lot of people aren't as keen on the intergender type of matches, but I thought, first of all, I've praised Lucha Underground for doing it because I think it's progressive. I think it's different. I think it's a unique way of presenting the women, and I think this is probably, tonight's episode was probably the best job they did of showcasing that. I thought the match with Sexy Star and Pentagon was outstanding. I thought it was just great, classic heel versus face stuff, but with that new style type of progressive form of promoting it and presenting it. And my hat's off to both of them. I thought they did an outstanding job. I thought Pentagon played the monster real well. I thought Sexy Star played the never say die babyface really well, and she got the win. Which, if I were booking, I probably would have given Pentagon the win because that's just the way my brain works. It's like, no, you gotta keep the heels strong. They gotta win all the fucking time. I'm like the anti-Vince McMahon that way. But I thought the match they had was great. It was outstanding. It was a perfect payoff to what they've been building up for the last few weeks. I mean, the segment they did last week with Pentagon where he attacked the ring announcer, that was, like, scary as fuck, I thought. It was just, and there was really a benefit to giving Pentagon all those squash matches where he broke people's arms with that special arm breaker that he used. Because every time he went for it in this match, I just kind of tensed up and got on the edge of my seat because I'm like, oh my God, he's going to break Sexy Star's arm. And that's the value of squash matches right there. That's why they make great character builders. That's why, that's how you get moves over. When there's a consequence to hitting the move, it'll actually, it adds to the drama of the match whenever he goes for it. And even just Sexy Star getting out of it constantly was like, oh, thank God. And again, it's like any other TV or movie, TV show or movie where, Lord of the Rings. I mean, if you're watching the Lord of the Rings and you're invested and you're, totally buying into what's going on, anytime Frodo kind of loses himself and he starts slowly putting the ring on, you get on the edge of your seat like, no, don't do it. And it's like just the simple act of putting on a piece of jewelry could tense up an entire audience. And that's just, making the moves matter. And Pentagon's arm breaker is one of the most dangerous moves in pro wrestling, the way it's been promoted in Lucha Underground in the last couple months or so at least. So it really added a lot to the drama of the match. And again, I just thought the match was outstanding. I was like, man, that was awesome. And then you turn around and they do the trios tournament finals, and that match was fucking insane from start to finish. It was just this crazy, constantly evolving story. You got the three teams where it was Ivelisse, Son of Havoc, and Angelico versus Big Rick and his new posse, the Mac, or it's Willie Mac, and Killshot, and King Cuerno, Tejano, and Cage. And it's an elimination match, so the match went very long. It was probably the longest, actually, I know for sure, it's the longest match Lucha Underground has done since the Aztec Warfare match earlier this year. And it was just this constant evolving story where Angelico, Ivelisse, and Son of Havoc were definitely the underdog team. And Ivelisse hurt her leg at one point, and Son of Havoc got separated from the team at one point, and Angelico was getting beat up, and it was like, oh my God, they look completely hopeless out there. But then little by little, Tejano got eliminated thanks to interference from Daivari. It'll be interesting to see how they ultimately use Daivari. Like I said, I mean, Lucha Underground found ways to make guys seem fresh again. So hopefully they've got a good plan for Daivari and they can do something good with him. But his interference led to Tejano being eliminated, so his team was taken out. And then Big Rick's team was kind of dominating, kind of the dysfunctional trio there. And obviously there's been a storyline with Angelico, Son of Havoc, and Ivelisse going on for weeks and weeks, and their rivalry and Son of Havoc dumping Ivelisse and all this other stuff, and then Dario put them together because he thought it would be funny, basically. And they've somehow managed to find their way into the finals of this tournament. And as the match progressed more and more, like you just kind of got sucked into, at least I did. I got sucked into, like, I kind of want Angelico, Son of Havoc, and Ivelisse to win this thing, and it would be really cool if they did. And then they did win. It was like, wow, that was satisfying. That was very cool. And then Dario came out and said, no, tournament's not over yet. I'm throwing another team in there. You're going to fight the Crew in a no DQ match, and the winner of that match gets to be the Trios champions. They're like, oh my God. And again, just another layer on top of this insane evolving match that just went on and on. And the Crew just beat the ever-living dog crap out of all three of them. And it was actually kind of brutal at points. And they started brawling through the crowd at one point. And Eve Elise was left all by herself and was just getting beat up, which was really, again, a great... yeah, you knew who the heels were, definitely. That was never lost in translation or anything. And then just when you think it's completely hopeless and the babyfaces have no chance at all, Angelico comes the fuck out of nowhere. He does this dive off the top of where the stands are, where Dario's office is, comes off the top and just comes flying into the ring to dive onto two members of the Crew, and ultimately that helps set up the victory for the babyfaces, and just a really well-crafted story and very satisfying end to what this Trios tournament has been. It was so exciting to watch the entire thing unfold. And by the time it was done, I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool to see Angelico, Son of Havoc, and Eve Elise win the belts. And it was really just a very well-executed match overall. Just really well done. It was amazing for all the crazy action and all the insanity that was thrown in there. They got a very nice core story that evolved throughout the course of the match, and I thought it was just expertly well done. And that dive from Angelico was just insane. And you know, the more I watch Lucha Underground, the more I come to realize not only is it my favorite wrestling show week to week, and by the way, spoiler alert, it's probably going to win Brand of the Month when I do my top 10 matches of April and the Brand of the Month and all that other stuff. It's probably going to win again for the second month in a row because the show's just been that good. But the more I watch it, the more I realize, you know, I'm watching a ton of TV shows right now. I'm watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Arrow, Flash. Just started watching Daredevil. It's fantastic. Go watch it. Believe the hype. It's very good. House of Cards, Game of Thrones. I was watching Walking Dead. I kind of quit on it. House of Cards, I think I already mentioned that. Better Call Saul, very good. I just caught up on True Detective. That show's outstanding. I can't wait for season 2. And then there's a bunch of all my adult cartoons like South Park and Bob's Burgers and Archer. Archer is probably my favorite show on television right now. So I'm watching a ton of TV shows right now. I gotta say, Lucha Underground is probably one of my favorite TV shows to watch week to week. Not just wrestling shows, TV shows. It is just that good. It is that exciting. And if you're looking for a wrestling show that's exciting, it's new, it's different, it has action, it has violence, it has drama, it has characters, it has storylines. It's very progressive in the way it handles its women, I think. So if that's something you're looking for, give it a watch. It really is just an outstanding show that deserves all the praise that it gets from the people that watch it. And I hope the audience continues to grow and grow. And I hope that they get a second season, because I know that they're doing a 2-hour special in August, and then that's going to be the season finale. And then they're going to take a break for a while, and I hope that they come back for a second season, because the show has just been outstanding. I mean, just truly outstanding. And I can't praise it enough. I mean, what the fuck are you watching me for? Go watch Lucha Underground, and don't watch this last episode that I'm talking about. Start at episode 1 and watch it all the way through. It is completely worth it. I am not fucking with you. I am not lying to you. The show is excellent. It is just an outstanding wrestling show. It's an outstanding show, period. And I love watching it week to week. It's just stellar. It's absolutely incredible. Now to move on to something a little bit more negative, I got to talk about this in regards to Monday Night Raw, because it's really been kind of bothering me the last few weeks, and I really haven't had a good place to really talk about it, and that is the Miz and Mizdow feud, which, if you'd followed my videos going back to last year, you would know that I really praised the WWE for this storyline, this rivalry, this, it started off as a partnership and then butted into, like, this ever-growing animosity-based relationship that you would think would culminate in a grand climax. And I was praising them for that, and I said it around Royal Rumble time, I was like, that should be a WrestleMania match. That Miz and Mizdow, the storylines, the characters, and everything about it has been so good that it deserves a spot at WrestleMania. I'm not saying it needed to be the main event. I'm not saying it needed to be a 30-minute match. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying the story was good enough to warrant a spot on the WrestleMania card. And, you know, it was just, it's a spotlight that, it's a spot that both of them deserved, I thought. I thought the storyline was good enough to warrant a spot on the WrestleMania card. And, that's just how I feel. And it felt like once the Royal Rumble happened, and they kind of blew their opportunity to actually do a big moment between Miz and Mizdow there. They just kind of went into this holding pattern where Miz kept abusing Mizdow, and he kept abusing him and abusing him and abusing him, but there was no, like, development. There was no... You're waiting for the payoff, and eventually it took too long to do the payoff, and they didn't... or to do the eventual split, and it became clear that they were not going to do the match at WrestleMania, and sure enough, they just stuck them into a Battle Royal that ultimately got bumped to the pre-show anyway, so... Yay. And then they wonder why they can't make new stars. I mean, that was a perfect chance to showcase two young talents in a story that people were invested in, and they chose not to do it. So, okay, sure, whatever. Anyway, WrestleMania comes and goes. They do the Battle Royal. They do the split at the Battle Royal, and they give Sandow a big spotlight moment in the Battle Royal. He was actually the runner-up to Big Show. So you thought, okay, maybe they can fix this. Maybe they can salvage it and still get a good build-up to their eventual pay-per-view match. They did not do this. They wrestled each other on Raw 3 weeks in a row. Miz wins one match. Sandow wins the next match. And then they do the match on Raw this week. And they were kind of like 2 or 3 minute throwaway matches with hardly any build-up. They shoehorned Summer Rae into the thing, and she turned face to join with Sandow, which I don't recall. Apparently they did it on SmackDown, because I don't recall seeing it on Raw. And then it didn't really matter, because she turned heel and helped Miz win anyway, and it just felt stupid. And the whole thing, all that build-up for this match. And it's not necessarily that I have a problem with Mizdow losing, because I do think eventually Sandow did have to break away from the Miz persona and break off and do his own thing. But it was like, this was a chance to give this story some kind of a big payoff and a big... make it mean something in the long run, and it was just a couple of throwaway matches on Raw, and it amounted to nothing. So, and nobody's going to remember that those matches happened either. So it's really a shame, and those guys were not given the proper reward for how good the storyline was, especially throughout last year with their tag team run and everything, and how over the Mizdow act got, and just all the things that they did with it. I felt like they deserved a lot more than that, and it deserved to be like a nice spotlight, low card, mid card feud that you could have thrown onto any pay-per-view card. Like I said, it should have been on the card for WrestleMania. I maintain that, and I'll always argue that. But I felt like they deserved better than that, and what they ended up doing was all of it just amounted to a couple of throwaway matches on Raw, and they traded wins back and forth, and then that was the end of that. So it's always disappointing when you're invested in a storyline and they don't deliver the way they should. And this was a case where they definitely did not deliver the way they should have. But with all of that, let's talk about Extreme Rules 2015. I will give my preview and predictions of the entire card. To be perfectly honest, I know Raw's been kind of a drab lately. Some good things, but overall, kind of like, kind of a chore to sit through because it is 3 hours long. I don't think the card's that bad, though. I think they kind of accidentally somehow stumbled onto a semi-decent card. But especially for a post-WrestleMania show, because normally what they do for a post-WrestleMania show is just throw out a bunch of rematches. But I mean, there are some rematches, but overall it's not like... it's not completely just a WrestleMania Part 2 type of show, and they did try to do some things with it, so I'll definitely highlight the good things and tear down the bad ones like I always do. But starting off, let's look at the pre-show match. It'll be Tyson Kidd and Cesaro defending their tag team championships against the New Day. I guess it's good that the New Day are finally heels, because, I mean, my God, trying to push that gimmick as baby faces, everybody thought that was bullshit. So at least it's like, yeah, these happy-go-lucky, fake-as-hell idiots are, yeah, they're shit-eaters. Of course they are. But, you know, the match isn't really going to matter in the grand scheme of things. They might put the belts on the New Day, but at the end of the day, who really cares? I find it funny that once Tyson Kidd and Cesaro won the belts, it was like, well, it's the pre-show belts now. I mean, not that the Usos were immune to getting completely off the pre-show, but the Usos got a lot more promotion typically. And Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, they're just two more guys on the show carrying belts, and they're going to be on the pre-show again, and nobody really cares. And it's a shame. It's a shame because they're a good team, and I wish they had something to do again. I wish they'd move them down to NXT and because NXT could, if there's one thing that show's lacking, they could use some more tag teams. But in any case, I'll pick Kidd and Cesaro to retain the belts there, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. Then going on to the main card, we have the Divas Championship, which was supposed to be Paige versus Nikki Bella, but in the storylines, Naomi turned heel and attacked Paige and injured her, and then she got put into the match as the next contender up. So we got a heel versus heel match for the Divas Championship. I don't mind that they turned Naomi heel. I actually do like Naomi, and they've actually given her a bit of a thing where it's like, yeah, I mean, okay, she's the heel because she attacked Paige, but her motivations actually make sense, where it's like, yeah, I've never really been given a chance to shine like everybody else does, and, you know, where's my shot, man? And so at least there's something there that I can sink my teeth into. I think a heel versus heel match isn't going to come off very well, but this might be a building block into eventually doing a Naomi Paige title match down the road, and okay, fine. I'd be fine with that. I'd like to, you know, it's nice that they're at least trying to give one of the divas a character and give her something, and Paige is finally being given, you know, something to do beyond just working with AJ for the 8 millionth time. So they could probably do something with it down the road. I don't think this match is going to turn out very well. I think it's going to be pretty awkward because, again, both of them are heels. So I don't think it's going to come off that well, but I could be wrong. I'm actually going to pick Naomi to win the title. I think they've put enough into her on TV to make me think that she might steal the title, then eventually feud with Paige down the road. Or Paige might come in and cost her the belt. Who knows? All right, next up, we've got... I'm trying to base this off of memory here. There is the Kiss Me Arse match between Sheamus and Dolph Ziggler. This match would be completely fine if it wasn't for the gimmick. The gimmick is stupid. And for those of you that want to reference, oh, well, Rockin' Billy Gunn did it in 1999. Yeah, I hated it then too. I thought it was stupid. But at least that match played off of Billy Gunn's gimmick, being that he was, for whatever reason, obsessed with his ass. So at least it played off of a character trait that one of the characters had, much like how the Jailhouse match at SummerSlam '91, it played off of personality traits of the Boss Man and the Mountie. I think I've referenced that match like 10 times this year alone. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, but this just doesn't make any sense. It's just like, I don't know why Ziggler and Sheamus would be in a match with a gimmick like this. You would think that with Sheamus's new bruising bully personality, it'd be like a street fight or a no DQ match or something brutal. But you know, okay, we'll get this. I'll pick Sheamus to win because he's, you know, it's his first match. It's his first pay-per-view match back. So to me, I think that they'd probably want to give him the win. But yeah, that's probably how that's going to go down. Then we might have the Intercontinental Championship match, Daniel Bryan versus Wade Barrett. Apparently Daniel's injuries are flaring up again. I don't know exactly what the issue are. The whole thing might be a work. Who knows? But, you know, if... you know, Daniel's got to worry about his health, number one. And I appreciate the hard work that he does and everything, and I'm a huge fan of his, obviously, but I also want him to take care of himself. So if he has to go back, you know, go back off the road and go heal himself up, then, you know, go do it. Again, I don't know the extent, or I don't know exactly what's going on. Like I said, the whole thing could be at work. Who knows? But... yeah, if the match does happen, we'll see if it does, I'll pick Daniel Bryan to retain. because they seem to want to actually do something with the mid-card championships. And they do have Cena and Bryan in place to actually add credibility to those belts, and they're actually being used in a way to add credibility to those belts and to make them mean something again. So I will give them credit for that. We'll see if there's a long-term plan for that going forward. But overall, I mean, that's actually not too bad of a situation that we have right now. I just hope that Bryan's health is okay, and that if it's not, then he should probably think about getting some things fixed up. And like I said, think of yourself first in that case. Your health should be your number one priority. But that is that match. Then we have Dean Ambrose versus Luke Harper in a Chicago street fight, which I think might be the sleeper hit of the show if it's given the opportunity to do so. And to their credit, and I don't know if this was by accident or what, but there actually is a starting point to this feud. It isn't just randomly, Luke Harper just randomly started beating up Dean Ambrose or something. No, Luke Harper powerbombed Dean Ambrose through that ladder in the ladder match at WrestleMania, and that's kind of the genesis of us getting this match here. So at least there's like a logical series of events that led to this match taking place, so I can praise them for that. And I think if they're given the opportunity, I think these two could go out there and have a really good hardcore match and really possibly even steal the show if they're given the opportunity to do so. We'll see if that's the case. But yeah, I'll pick Dean Ambrose to win just because the poor guy almost never wins and he's one of the most over faces they have. So they need to start giving him something more substantial to do because he's been kind of directionless lately. So yeah, I think the match could be really good, and hopefully it's a good jump start for Dean Ambrose. Next up, we have Roman Reigns versus Big Show in a last man standing match, and I have to say, we all got upset. We thought that Roman Reigns was being rammed down our throats or whatever. I now have to ask, are they sabotaging him on purpose? I mean, first they give him the Royal Rumble win in a situation that takes Daniel Bryan out of the mix, so he's going to get booed out of the building. I mean, they had to know that was going to happen. Then they give him the heat of removing Daniel Bryan for good in February. Then they have Lesnar destroy him at WrestleMania and then ultimately take the pin from Seth. And now he's stuck working with Big Show, which is basically a void because Big Show's whole giant gimmick is dead because he lost so many times, and because of it, he's boring as hell, and now Roman Reigns is stuck working with him. So it's like, are they trying to ruin Roman? Maybe we had it backwards, because now I kind of feel sorry for him, because it's like he was just put in the worst situation imaginable. It's just not getting any better. And the fans still don't like him. It's almost, like I said, it's almost like he was sabotaged, or maybe they're just incompetent. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not really looking forward to this match. Like I said, if Big Show was actually a legitimate threat, it would probably be okay, but he's not. So, I mean, is there any doubt that Roman Reigns is going to win this match? I mean, if he doesn't win, it makes him look like shit. I mean, that's pretty much what we have at this point, because Big Show is such damaged goods as a Giant. I mean, it doesn't do any good for Big Show to win, and if Roman wins, it's not a big deal because everybody beats Big Show, so who cares? So yeah, I'm picking Roman to win, and it's whatever. We'll see what happens there. Then we have the United States Championship match. Rusev challenging John Cena in a Russian chain match, which is going to be wrestled under strap match rules, where you have to touch the four corners to win the match. Cena wins, LOL. I mean, Cena's going to win again. I mean, that's pretty much set in stone at this point. I'm not saying the match will be bad or anything, but it's like, yeah, okay, been there, done that. Cena's going to win. Yay. Whatever. I just hope that they don't flush Rusev down the drain post-Mania or post-Extreme Rules, and they actually do have a plan for him. I mean, he hasn't been horribly ruined by the Cena feud. Not yet, anyway. So hopefully they've got some kind of a contingency plan after this pay-per-view, and he can move on to something better and not get lost in the shuffle, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that either. Then we have the main event. It's a steel cage match between Randy Orton and Seth Rollins, wherein the RKO is banned, and actually apparently so is the curb stomp, which is going to be removed as a regular fixture of Seth Rollins' repertoire. Which to me is kind of stupid, because as far as I know, Seth has never hurt anybody with the move, and it looks awesome, and I don't know why you would tell him to stop doing it. That just seems stupid to me. But in any case, I mean, you do tell kids not to do this at home. I mean, to me, there's no liability there. As far as I'm concerned, it's like, if they're dumb enough to do this shit at home, they almost deserve what they get. It's kind of like I read stories where in the 70s kids would dress up as the Human Torch for Halloween by actually setting their costumes on fire. I'm like, look, any kid that's dumb enough to do that, they kind of deserve what they get. I mean, I hate to sound that insensitive, but I'm like, seriously, how stupid do you have to be? Hey, I watched Seth Rollins curb stomp somebody, maybe I should do it too. I mean, I don't know. That takes a special kind of stupid, especially when the WWE goes out of their way to say, do not try this at home. But, anyway, anyway, I think this match is actually, it's a good one. I mean, I think it's a perfectly fine first main event for Seth as champion, especially considering Randy beat him at WrestleMania and then Seth stole the title. So, to me, it's only natural that Randy would be first in line to get the title shot. So that works out just fine. I think, I think it could be a really good match. I think it could be a good one. Although the steel cage match, unfortunately, has kind of been ruined by the fact that the whole idea of the cage is that it's supposed to prevent outside interference. And I can't tell you how many cage matches I've seen in the last few years alone where interference just runs rampant in the cage match. So it's where like the original purpose of the gimmick has just been completely nullified. I mean, that Cena Bray Wyatt cage match last year was beyond ridiculous. And even the one he had with Ziggler going into, this would have been 2013, I think? Yeah, 2013. He had one with Ziggler where it was just like outside interference up the wazoo, in addition to Cena kicking out of all of Ziggler's finishers. It was just the most ridiculous fucking thing I've ever watched. But whatever. So the cage match gimmick has unfortunately been hindered, and I don't know how many bells and whistles they're going to throw out there in this match. Obviously, Kane is going to be standing outside guarding the cage door, so if I had to bet, he'll probably be coerced into helping Seth win the title or something. Seth is not losing the title. At least he shouldn't. He's going to walk out with the strap. It's just a matter of how they get to that point, to whether or not it works or anything, and how well it comes off. And like I said, I think this could be a really good match for Seth, his first big main event as champion, and I hope it goes well. I definitely think it should be Lesnar and Seth at SummerSlam. I think that could be a hell of a match, and Seth should definitely be the champion up to that point. And I think that could be like I said, I think that could be a great match for SummerSlam, great main event to build to. So hopefully this starts Seth's journey to get to ultimately meet Lesnar down the road. So so overall, Extreme Rules, I mean, there's not a whole lot in the way of bad matches on there. Some of the gimmicks are a little stupid, but overall, I don't think it's that bad of a card. I think they could probably turn this into a good show. It's just a matter of execution. Let's see what they do. But other than that, I don't really have too much to really say about it. It just doesn't look like a terrible card, and hopefully it turns out well enough, and all the good things deliver, and hopefully some of the things I think will be bad, surprise me and turn out better than expected. So I'm not expecting anything special out of the show, but I'm not expecting it to be bad either. So hopefully WWE delivers a solid show this weekend. But that is all I have for now. I've rambled on long enough. I will say it once again. Check out Lucha Underground if you are not doing so, because it is stellar. Watch NXT if you are not doing so, because it is great. Those are probably the two wrestling shows you should be watching right now, because I think and it's not even like a fuck WWE or fuck TNA type of thing. It's just they're just really good shows, and I think people should be watching them. That's just, if you're a wrestling fan, there's no reason not to at least give it a shot. And, another thing I do want to talk about, New Japan and Ring of Honor, they're doing their crossover shows next May, and the Global War shows and War of the Worlds and all that, and those shows look like they're going to be fun. Nakamura's going to be on the shows, Okada, Tanahashi, who else is going to be on there? AJ Styles, I think, is going to be on there, Naito, and Liger's going to be on the show. So, and some of the matches they're cooking up are pretty cool. Like, they're doing the Briscoe brothers versus Okada and Nakamura, which that could probably be the highlight match of the entire experience. But we'll see how that goes. But looks like it's going to be a fun string of shows, and I'm looking forward to it. And actually, I also heard that AAA is doing their Lucha Libre World Cup, which is having stars from TNA, Ring of Honor, All Japan Pro Wrestling, and Pro Wrestling Noah, in addition to AAA, and they might even have, I've heard talk that they might even have a Lucha Underground team in there too, which would be really great. So that show might be worth checking out, because that sounded really interesting when I saw that. So hopefully that turns out really well too. So we got some good shows coming up in May, it looks like, and they're actually cross-branded, cross-promotional shows, which is pretty cool. And speaking of that, apparently Global Force Wrestling is ready to kick off, which is really cool, really, really cool. I hope it goes well. I'm always in favor of more, alternatives, more opportunities for guys to get their names out there, more opportunities for work, and just more wrestling in general. I think it's better for the business, and hopefully Jared has a good plan in place. But yeah, that is all I have for now. There will not be a second video this week because I'm just going to be excruciatingly busy, but I will have a review of Extreme Rules sometime next week, early next week, like Monday or Tuesday. Maybe even Sunday night, depending on how I'm feeling after the show. But like I said, that is all I have for now. Y'all enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy Extreme Rules, and I'll see you all later.